It's warm, 35 degrees and foggy. Fog's actually thinned up a little bit. I couldn't see those trees over there earlier. I could barely see the bend down there. Of course, it was a little darker then too. Yeah, things are very wet this morning just because of fog. Gotta love it. I'm still optimistic. If it'll burn off sometime this morning, we may get a few more loads out this afternoon. In the meantime, I've been in here with my brain going crazy, thinking about clutch linkage on here. Try to get the chair and the chair rolls away. Funny thing about chairs on wheels, eh? So, on our old fertilizer buggy years ago, we had so much trouble with the hydraulic clutch on it, it wasn't funny. And I put a jack shaft on the firewall and connected. And it was basically the same setup as this, just a 63 International instead of 68 International. On this one, I got no firewall to go to. All I got really is those two bolts right there on the bell housing. And where it'll be pushing from the front and forward is going to put all the strain on the bolts. That's where my brain's kind of having a hard time wrapping around things. I mean, another option is I could go back to the top transmission bolts and come up from there, which that's been rolling around in my head a little bit too. I run out of room there a little sooner, but I can still work. So just trying to get it figured out. And I mean, keep in mind, figuring it out down here is the small part. The worst part is figuring out how to come through up there, because I not only have the cab floor, but all the cab support in the way, which in a way is an advantage because cab support's stout enough to handle whatever I want to hook to it, but it's also in the way. So I don't know. I'm still gonna roll it around a little, see what I got for materials. I shouldn't need, I mean, the clutch shaft is 1-inch shaft by the looks of it. I shouldn't need that big. It seems like I only used 1/2 inch or 5/8 on what I did on the other machine years ago, but you know, that's also was a different setup. The way it was working, it wasn't, yeah, just different angles, put different pressures, that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to roll around this morning. Too many things rattling around up there and not enough of them are lining up. You know, it's kind of like when you pull on a one-armed bandit, everything's got to line up right or you don't get nothing. Or playing pinball, you know, you got to hit it right or don't go in the right spot, then you got nothing. So that's what my brain's doing today. I mean, I'm kind of getting part of it, and it's like, yeah, but that's not going to work because of this or this. So, yeah, maybe I'll have something to show you on here today. Maybe I won't. We'll see. 1-inch shaft. That was actually the last one on the old sprayer. The end she's working on was where the belt clutch and jack shaft all met in the cab, and that end ran the pump. That's going to be a clutch jack shaft. The bearing's not the best in the world that's on there, but it's not bad. Housing's a little worn, but once again, it's not bad. Not bad for being 40 freaking years old. Pulley came off nicely. I actually like this style. Got the hub and then the pulley. Pull the bolts out, run them in the other set of holes, and they press it off. It came off real nice. I was surprised. And the lock collar actually unlocked fairly well. We just couldn't slide it down. So we're gonna try, I don't know why she's trying to push the bearing on forward. We're gonna try to use the vise, run the, excuse me, pound the bearing with the vise. Hopefully it'll pop it loose. It's just stuck right where it's at. Once it's loose there, it'll slide off. Well, there's this end. Yeah, took the grinder and beveled that. Got the bearing right out to about right there. She was smudged just a little bit. So this time, I told her it's her turn. I got the bolts loose. The one, I mean, it's amazing these things hold up like they do. You tighten those when you put them together, and being on a cone, eventually they tighten themselves up a little tighter and the bolts end up loose. She can't remember righty tighty lefty loosey, but she's backwards. So anyway, the one she's working on, I put the wrench on it and it was loose, but they stay together. So and put a little dab of fluid film in the threaded hole, because, you know, number one, those holes they're full of rust from, say, you know, they've been on there 40 years. And they help it go together a little easier and keep from screwing threads up, because once that's apart, it'll go back together just like the other one and go down underneath the big drawer where we got all the stuff like that.
All the pulleys?
Yeah, all the pulleys. See, she's smart. She knows woods.
I grabbed my tiger from bugs.
She knows woods. And took a little bit to get the other bearing off, but that's expected. Take some emery cloth, polish the shaft up, get things loose. This one's probably going to come off the same. So it's been on there for 40 freaking years.
It's almost twice the age I am.
Yeah. The fun we used to have with stuff. That's back when you could afford to buy steel and build things.
Not no more.
Now you grab scrap and hope. But this whole thing needs to get polished up. Basically just cleaned up. And I don't have a piece of ODM tube like I thought I did. What I got are undersized, and I'm not going to bore a piece out. But this piece of water pipe right here
I probably should get the other one down and do the same thing.
is close enough. I mean, it's a little loose, but once you're full length on that, there's not much wiggle to it. And by the time I weld a couple pieces on there to bolt it in, it'll shrink it a little. And then we'll just hope that it doesn't get an issue. I don't like having, let's see if I can get you where you can see it. Dead center in the bottom of the tube, that's the seam, and it's to the inside, of course. Seams can bind up. But if you put it in a position where it's never working on that seam, then it won't.
It broke.
Uh-oh. She fudged up. She was horsing too much. Were you
wasn't.
tightening them evenly?
Yes.
Yeah, looks like this one's going to be a pain in the arse.
Bitch.
Well, I guess I'll bring you back.
I was
I'm going to say tools are tools. Yes, I know this is a wood chisel. In my lifetime, this chisel has never played with wood. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I think I did actually do a little work on a couple of doors with it.
You used it not that long ago on something else too.
Yeah, I used it not too long ago. It gets used all the frickin' time, but I was able to get in between. And then once it popped loose, she slowly tightened the one she's taken out while I tapped on the pulley with the hammer, and it slid right off just like it's supposed to.
See, so I didn't screw it up too bad.
So now what she's going to do is she's got to get that broken bolt out. She broke it. She got to fix it. And find another one to replace it. Clean this stuff up, and then it'll get put away. Then she's going to get the bearing off. See how nice I am?
Not.
She's got to learn some of this stuff.
Should have brought my glasses.
Now, that way I don't have to do all of it. I can at least have a little better help with some of it, right? Well, there's a naked shaft. tried, cut a slot in the end of that bolt and put a screwdriver on it. She couldn't budge it. A lot of things like that. I've had good luck with these little impact drivers. Go really, really, really easy. Instead of just logging on it, just barely, and it'll just kind of go thump, thump, thump. Yeah, it went thump and broke one side right off. So ground them off, got a hole in it. That poor little easy out, I'm just about at its breaking point and haven't budged it yet. So I think it's almost wobbled enough with that easy out to go to the next size up without having to re-drill. I'm going to see. I don't like breaking easy outs. Yeah, I could cherry that thing a little bit, let her cool, and it might break loose. I don't know. Do I have to have that hole right now? No. It's going to go down there and be stored until we need it. But if it's ever got to get taken off again, it'd be nice to have that hole, because you don't just do them with one. Generally doesn't work out very well. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here in a minute. 30 seconds later, guess what? This one no longer goes to that size now. So, find a different way. I'll totally gave up with the easy out after breaking it and then drilling it out. And the easy out kind of went through on one side. So, I thought I had a smaller chisel than this one. But in the process, I got it out a thread, so there was a little sticking up. I got it folded in on itself. Here in a minute, hopefully I can just drive it through the other side, run a tap through it. Be good as new. Baby punches, give you an idea how baby we go. Yeah, that one's a little bent. That was these two. I was finally able to get it to roll in the hole and got it out. And actually the threads don't look too bad, but we're seeing if she learns how to find a 1/4-20 tap. We're going to tap through it anyway and clean them up. And somewhere on the floor there's a little half rolled up piece of junk. I don't know where it went. It bounced. That nice clean shaft except for the middle. So the farther I get through the lathe, put the lathe on slow, took the wire wheel to it and the emery cloth. Then the wire wheel again because the emery cloth broke a bunch of shit loose. She decided she's going to get this one torn apart too. Well, I just helped her get the bearing off and the one pulley that was right on the end. But this one, both those set screws are stuck. They're stuck so good that I no longer have a nice Allen wrench. This one's been so screwed up so many times, it's amazing it's lasted that long. That's probably 45, 50 years old. Oh, now I gotta go find a regular one and see if I can do something. And I heated that up, but I think I'm gonna take the oxyacetylene and cherry it. Then we'll see what happens. I was a little slow. It fired right up, as expected. Yep, guess what we're gonna try. After lunch, it's a lot tired than it was this morning. Well, let's see if she's been on the charger long enough. It's like 39 degrees and these Perkins don't like it when it's cold out. But she'll go. Just like that. Right there. And that's how we do it. Number 2, first one on that one. I had that tractor pulled out too far so she couldn't come up. That spreader's wider, so I just barely had it in the opening up here where I had a little more room. And I should be able to back this one in a little farther so she can bring that other one up so I don't have to go down there next time. I'll probably still have to back it in, but you know, it is what it is. She's slow. She runs that one a little slower than this one. And she don't come in here at 90 miles an hour and try to bounce the pin out. Used to lose pins down there in that wet spot all the time because it was usually rough when we were doing stuff. One reason we got the fancy pins, they don't come out. They're the locking pins with the bow on them. Work awesome on manure spreaders and hay rakes. The two things you'll always lose pins on. She's even slow with that one. So I wanted to show this off for coal. Yeah, this one's in really good shape. What do you think? We redid this one quite a few years ago. It needs it again. It really needs it again, but I've seen worse too. So I'm gonna let her come on this side. It's not the best place to swap places, but either way, we gotta be in the mud. This just might not be as bad. Last time we switched places, she got over a little far. There's not so much rock over there. It's all rock over here, though. Telling myself, there's a valve on that line. I just turned it on. This one, I guess, was already on. She's complaining about being cold. She said a few loads ago it wasn't bad, but now she's getting cold. You know? As soon as I turn that on, it's about 100 degrees in that cab. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything like that to anybody, would I? Of course, I had to turn the cab valve on too, but let's see if she figures it out. And yeah, she's already out there. It took me a minute to open the valve, and it took me a minute to get weaseled in here. It's not where I want it, but close enough I can get around it. Big frickin' mess, but I'll scrape it off tonight and put it in a low spot over there on the other side of that fence post. And hopefully it won't be as bad tomorrow. Maybe. She got in there. She had to take her coat off. She's sweating her ass off now. Oh, but I wouldn't do a thing like that, would I? And she don't know where the valves are. This one's got a valve somewhere, but she ain't complaining about getting too cold in this one yet. I think they're all on the other side anyway. Thanksgiving, Ron.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Okay, now you got to see Ron. Since all the pits closed early, he stopped by. I thought maybe number one called him and begged him to come run a spreader. But I got to get to loading. A little video of Ed playing in the horde and the cow poo-poo. Made another round, called it good, cleaned stuff up. Ron and I are going to go have us a drink. So thank you all for watching, and that last clip you just watched would have been him videoing. So you got to see a little bit. Thanks for watching, everybody.